Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Amirah Binti Mohamad Ropi. My student ID is 2024740687. Today, I will be presenting my article critique on the piece titled The Future of Leadership, How Conflict Resolution Elevates Teamship, written by Christian. I will begin with a brief summary, followed by 3 main areas of critical analysis, and finally, the recommendation and conclusion. Let's start with the summary. Christian explains that workplaces today are shifting from traditional hierarchical leadership to something called teamship. This concept, popularized by Keith Ferrazzi, focuses on shared responsibility rather than putting all decision power in the hands of one leader. In teamship, everyone contributes to leadership through open communication, trust, and collective accountability. The author highlights that conflict resolution and negotiation skills are now essential components of effective teamwork. Many teams face hidden disagreements or unspoken frustration, which can weaken performance. To address this, Christian proposed 4 key strategies. The first is normalizing constructive conflict, so teams can openly debate ideas. The second is building psychological safety, so employees feel safe speaking up. The third is developing peer-to-peer accountability, such as through open 360-degree feedback. And finally, reframing feedback as information for growth rather than personal criticism. Now, I will move into my critical analysis. I agree with the author because his ideas match what today's organizations need. Modern managers must be able to build trust, manage conflict, and support collaboration. These skills influence productivity, communication, and team morale. The first major point is the transition from traditional leadership to teamship. Christian agreement is valid, but this shift requires managers to change their entire role. Instead of controlling tasks or making all decisions, managers now act as facilitators, trust builders, and capability developers. Research supports this. For example, Absent et al. 2024 found that trust is a crucial managerial responsibility. Ju et al. 2022 also showed that empowering leadership reduces dependence on authority, which means managers must learn how to step back and guide instead of command. Looking at the global context, many industries such as tech and consulting have already embraced this model. Their managers operate more like servant leaders, focusing on enabling expertise instead of directing it. A clear real-world examples come from Robert Bosch. According to Spiegel et al. 2021, managers in their agile teams first provided structure, but over time, their roles shift into coaching and supporting self-leadership. This supports Christian agreement, but this also confirms that teamship does not happen automatically. It requires training in psychology safety, feedback culture, and decision delegation. The next key point is constructive conflict and negotiation. Christian is correct that these skills are essential. Managers must know how to frame conflict positively, listen actively, negotiate fairly, and control emotional reactions. Research by Nanko and Sungko 2021 shows that high-performing teams do not avoid conflict. Instead, they manage it using constructive behaviors. LeBlanc et al. 2024 adds that teams should practice reflexivity, which means reviewing their process regularly. This requires managers to facilitate structured reflection sessions. In terms of global context, diverse and hybrid teams face more miscommunication risks. Online communication often hides tone and non-verbal cues, making conflict harder to manage. A practical example is the rise of constructive disagreement workshop and safe debate forum, where employees practice speaking out. However, Roman et al. 2023 found that power differences influence who is willing to talk. This means managers have to be very intentional about managing status dynamics. Next, we look at psychological safety. Christian is right that it is essential, but its creation depends heavily on managerial competencies. Research by Dong et al. 2024 shows that psychological safety boosts creativity and performance, but managers must model vulnerability, fairness, and supportive communication consistently. Blomberg et al. 2025 also highlight that conflict management systems set by managers are the foundation of psychological safety. This includes reporting channels, clear norms, and consistent follow-through. Zhu et al. 2022 confirmed that empowering leadership contributes directly to psychological safety because it encourages transparency and equal voice. In global practice, hybrid teams rely heavily on digital tools like online check-ins and anonymous forms to maintain openness. The challenge is on making sure psychological cues remain visible even when people are not physically present. Google's Project Aristotle is a strong real-life example. Their research found that psychological safety is the #1 predictor of team success. Organizations now try to replicate this through emotional intelligence training and storytelling activities, but consistency remains a major managerial challenge. Now, I will move into the recommendations. These are based on the analysis of both the article and supporting research. The first recommendation is that organizations should design leadership development program focused on shared leadership and trust building. Managers need practical skills in delegation, coaching, and empowerment. Research by Upson and Ju clearly shows that shared leadership only succeeds when managers intentionally build trust. The second recommendation is to implement structured conflict resolution and reflexivity practices. Managers should be trained in negotiation, mediation, reframing, and emotional regulation. Research by Nanko and LeBlanc shows that high-performing teams use conflict as a tool for growth, and managers must learn how to guide this conversation. The third recommendation is actively cultivate and measure psychological safety across teams. This includes modeling behaviors such as active listening, supportive feedback, fairness, and vulnerability. Organizations can use pulse surveys and team KPIs to monitor psychological safety and hold managers accountable for maintaining it. Studies by Dong and Blomberg show how important this climate is. The final recommendation is to align organizational system with teamship. Performance evaluation, communication structures, and incentive should reward collaboration rather than hierarchical behaviors. Policies should reinforce constructive conflict and psychological safety so that teamship becomes sustainable in the long term. In conclusion, the article provides strong insights into conflict resolution, elevates teamship, and my critique expand on the managerial skills required to make this transition successful. That's all from me. Thank you for listening.